Yo, what's up? I'm K-otic, and this is me. Ooh, that's a deep one. So we starting off crazy. What inspired me to start making music is depression. I've always dealt with crazy thoughts ever since an adolescent. It never really stemmed from anywhere other than being in a household surrounded by drugs, mainly. There was a lot of addiction that was in my family growing up, and so like a lot of those dark places, I questioned death a lot as a kid, and pad just felt natural to me. I listened to a ton of rap music all through my life, but I didn't start writing rap. It just kind of like became a natural transition from poetry, which is where I started writing. And yeah, ever since then, it's just kind of been like a love-hate relationship. Whatever kind of emotion I feel, I just go to a notebook. And that always helps me kind of sort my shit out. It turns into something cool at the end of the day. Definitely like old hip hop. I love Nas, Rakim, Big L. Those are people you'll hear constantly in my playlist. And some Erykah Badu, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I love R&B, soul, because that's where my music comes from, is from the heart. Everything that I'm writing, everything that I'm talking about is just like a lot of shit that I'm going through either with my soul, my spirit, or my mind. So I listen to a lot of people that influence like that. Obviously Eminem. I'm a white boy from the trailer park, so not from Detroit, but I felt a lot of what he was talking about growing up, being called trailer trash, stuff like that. That's something that I take like close to heart, and been called a decent a bit. But yeah, those are my definitely my main influences. I just search usually a feeling, like whatever I kind of think, whatever inspired me to kind of lead me to start looking for beats or type beats. I search that feeling, X type beat, or some artists that I know kind of make that emotional kind of music. Isaiah Rashad, Erykah Badu, Aaron May, some names that I didn't say last, but I listen to a lot of their beats because a lot of them like lo-fi, and I hear a lot of that soul come through instruments like pianos, wind instruments, things like that. Anything that's just really powerful on a song. I kind of just interpret that as a feeling. And so I'll search that feeling and run with there until I find something that's just like, yeah, I know this is it. Definitely like early 90s to early 2000s, I think are like some of the most raw music. And it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't so like divided. Everyone was still trying to, I feel like there was more love in the game and stuff that you were writing. It wasn't like a huge industry because everything was still kind of new, you know what I mean? It's only been around for 20-ish years. The game hasn't really been broken up as wide as it possibly can. Like now there's so many subgenres of rap, but before it was just hip hop artists writing things like I like to write, which is poetry and conscious, just soul over some drill break beats. And so that's the shit that I love. Like I said, just like a stream of consciousness. Everything that I'm writing about is just a poetic interpretation of what I feel, like things that I've seen or dealt with. That's a really dope question, actually. The most unexpected, I think, was a leaf falling from a tree. And when I started getting the music ball rolling, it wasn't necessarily just due solely in part to me. I had another artist that I was recording with that really did believe in me as an artist. So he kind of hit me with 3 beats, was like, me, my other boy, and him are gonna hop on these 3 tracks, and these are gonna be our flagship debuts. Like, this is gonna launch me making music. And I was like, all right. I mean, it was someone to push me. I didn't think that I was personally ready at the time, but I think that I settled into it and made it work, kind of thing. But One day I was just outside listening to one of the beats, and I saw a leaf fall from my tree, and I was just like counted until it just laid on the grass motionless. I was like, you know what, that's really poetic if you just think about that whole travel path and like all the forces that, and I don't know, it just inspired me to write. And I don't think that anything so simplistic in nature or just in life in general has ever really inspired or invoked something so deep. But most of those thoughts that I'm dealing with are like depression related. So I thought that was cool. It's all inspiration. I want to just make the dopest thing that I can possibly do. And I think that's everyone's job as an artist. It's just to make the dopest thing that you can make, whatever version of that thing that it is. And so for me, a lot of that comes from feedback, and I want to hear how people are interpreting my music, how people are interpreting me as an artist, how people see the things that I'm talking about, or if they even hear necessarily what I'm talking about. And I've been doing that a lot recently, just having like one-on-one conversations. Yeah, they usually start from a copy pasta, and I'm sorry from that. I don't have enough time to personalize a ton of messages for everyone, but I want to hear from you. So the base thing is a copy pasta. If you decide to interact with it, you decide to. Not everyone really has, but the people that have, I've enjoyed hearing what people have to say, from like people really breaking down the music to people just being like, I don't really listen to this genre, but you sound good, so that's cool. Every person that I get to have that interaction with or hear what they have to say about my project just inspires me to make more. And recently, that's been like a snowball for me. I mean, I've since talked to probably like 600 people just to be like, hey, I hope you have some time to listen to music. If you don't, it's cool. And after getting all that feedback, I wrote 4 songs that I think are pretty good. It'll be a while till they come out, but I wrote those just fueled off that hunger. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's ever given me feedback on music, and to the people who've given me that feedback before I even started posting, like just as a freestyle at a party, or just like spitting a couple bars before games, like with my teams back in high school. Like I used to rap a freestyle before we went out my senior year for basketball, and all that feedback in that locker room, like all those times that I've ever had an interaction with people, it just fuels me to make the next thing, the next dope thing, the next dope thing, get it better, make it better. Well, I'll give you both. Locally, Mira Fontaine is someone that I listen to that's right around the way out in Camden. And I fucked with a lot of his stuff growing up. Everything from like the Camden freestyle to his newer stuff off of the I don't remember the album name, but it's Black Border Purple Face. I remember what it looked like. But that's someone local that I would love to collaborate with. A couple of my boys have been like to a few of their like parties and like get-togethers and stuff like that. So that's someone that I think wouldn't be a crazy extent. I've met him a few times. Ran into him at a Cherry Hill Mall, I think. And I remember that conversation that I got to have with him, where it was like, he just started recently posting like artwork for his albums, stuff like that, and like doing full videos on it on his Instagram. And I told him, I was like, yo, that stuff's dope. And it inspired me kind of like to do my own, get my Photoshop, Illustrator, and start doing my own stuff. And I was like, yo, that stuff's dope. I hope you do that more. And like he kept that a regular thing. So I thought that was pretty cool, that little interaction that we had. And I hope to receive stuff like that too, going forward. Like I said, all those interactions just fuel me to make dope projects. So I hope that was one thing in his stepping stone. And then for outside of this, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, those are 2 artists that I think every person in the industry like just wants to make a song with. doesn't matter what that's, because that song could be anything. But I would just like to sit in the studio with them and just see how they create. And if it's as sporadic as I am in a studio, that would be dope. Out of what I have out now, I think Rainstorm is something that I personally love. Just one of those vibes, kick back, really make you want to smoke up with a shorty and just chill out. That's something that I love. Kind of still have a personal connection to, even though it wasn't that great of a song knowing, but I know the lyrics. I promise you there's some really dope stuff that's on their way. I'm gonna drop it right now. The song called Circles. Super excited to drop that song. And I think it's gonna do crazy when it drops, but that's probably my favorite song that I have written today. That no matter how fucked up your head could possibly get, no matter how alone you may feel, no matter where you might end up in this whole revolution that we call our life, there's always something that's going to listen. And it doesn't have to be a person. Mine was a notebook. That's something that I felt all my life. No matter how alone or how hurt or how confused or how lost or how broken I felt, there was always a notebook. And that would always be real to me. You can't lie to yourself. And I could never lie to myself through a notebook. And that was my rock. There's something out there that will hear you, that will listen to you. And you can use that to get through anything. I promise that. And that's what I want everyone to know. Through my music, through anything that I make artistically, I want that to be the message. Yeah.